Hello, good afternoon. Um, what is the most dangerous sign in a person, according to the psychologist Carl Jung? I'm translating a book about ageless brain, and in chapter which I'm translating now, it shows how human relationships are very important. If we live with a toxic partner, you have to be educated and not to feel the victim. In any relationship, you should feel safe, in peace, and you should diagnose if people are fake. By the exterior, they look nice, very elegant, fake smile, but deep inside, they are either narcissist or sociopath or psychopath, which is a spectrum from serial killer to hunt you for some benefit, harm you, and always degrade you. Always they make you cry, always they make you down, although you are at the top. But this is how they behave with you. They are very, very dangerous. They are sick, and you will lose a lot if you continue not diagnosing these partners in a relationship. And of course, even if you exit the relationship, and the worst thing, if you are a woman and pregnant and have a baby, and then you will bring up the baby on your own as a single mom, of course with support, perhaps with your family, especially in the East, because the family support the girl. But there will be a long-term damage. It is horrible. Horrible feeling and horrible experience. As a gynecologist and obstetrician, I have the experience of many of my patients. And I have many real stories. So let us listen. What are the characteristics of this most dangerous person?
Warning. We need to start with how he saw the human mind. Jung believed that every person wears a mask, a social persona designed to function in the external world. But behind that mask lies the unconscious, a vast territory filled with instincts, suppressed feelings, and universal archetypes. One of the most important parts of this hidden realm is what Jung called the shadow, the collection of all the traits we reject in ourselves.
Shadow.
Jung believed that the shadow is not created by society alone. It emerges from the tension between who we are and who we believe we must be. As children, we absorb messages about what is acceptable, lovable, or worthy of praise. Traits that don't fit those messages, like vulnerability, anger, ambition, or independence, are quietly buried. Over time, we come to identify only with the parts of ourselves that earned approval, while disowning everything else. But the disowned doesn't disappear, it waits. It lingers beneath the surface, shaping our reactions, choices, and perceptions in ways we don't recognize. This silent influence is what makes the shadow so crucial and so dangerous when left unexplored. What makes the shadow so powerful is that it's not inherently evil. It's simply unacknowledged. It contains our impulses, our envy, our fears, and even our suppressed talents. But when these parts are not faced, they become distorted. People who deny their shadow often project it onto others, blaming the world for the very things they refuse to confront within themselves. Jung saw this as a psychological ticking time bomb. As we move deeper, let's look at what happens when this shadow is ignored or repressed entirely. When someone denies their darker impulses, those feelings don't disappear. Instead, they retreat into the unconscious, gathering energy and waiting for release. Jung warned that what is not made conscious will be lived out as fate. In other words, the more we refuse to see our flaws, the more those flaws control us from behind the scenes.
Aviva over 50s life insurance is a whole-of-life policy that pays out when you pass.
The unconscious doesn't simply store repressed impulses, it transforms them. Jung saw the unconscious not as a passive container, but as an active, shaping force. When parts of the self are denied, they don't lie dormant. They mutate, seeking expression through indirect and often destructive channels. The more these disowned aspects are suppressed, the more symbolic and irrational their emergence becomes. Nightmares, compulsive behaviors, irrational fears, or self-sabotaging patterns can all be signs of a shadow trying to break through the barrier of consciousness. Jung believed that the longer we ignore these signals, the more they escalate, pushing the individual toward breakdown or breakthrough. A person who represses their shadow may appear serene and composed, but their inner world tells a different story. Over time, this split between the outer self and the inner reality
And
creates
most of the time
tension
they are
that
very
must find an
successful.
outlet.
CEO,
Sometimes it appears as
consultants,
emotional outbursts.
surgeons, very
Other
successful.
times it leaks through sarcasm, control, or subtle acts of cruelty masked as concern. These people don't
Cruel.
understand why they sabotage relationships or feel chronically dissatisfied. But the root is always the same, a shadow left unacknowledged. This dynamic becomes especially dangerous when it's coupled with a certain illusion, one that Jung considered even more insidious. The people Jung warned us about most weren't the openly hostile or violent. They were those who believed they were entirely good. When someone sees themselves as morally pure, spiritually elevated, or fundamentally righteous, they often lose the ability to reflect on their own behavior. What makes moral superiority so treacherous is its immunity to self-criticism. People convinced of their goodness will justify manipulation as help, control as protection, or even
Perfect. They
cruelty
believe they
as
are
tough
perfect.
love. Their actions may look ethical on the surface, but beneath them lies a hidden agenda, the avoidance of their own shadow. Jung believed that the more someone clings to an identity of virtue, the more likely they are to unconsciously act out its opposite, precisely because they've buried any awareness that it exists within them.
They are not
So
aware.
what connects all of this? What is the invisible thread running through these dangerous patterns of behavior?
And mostly
Jung
due
gave
to
us a
trauma
chilling
in
answer.
childhood.
But before we explore it, if you're finding this video insightful, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear these ideas.
Sharing.
And if you'd like to support Mental Dose and help us keep creating thoughtful content like this, you can click the thanks button below the video to leave a donation. Your support truly helps us continue this work. Now let's return to Jung's most alarming insight. According to Carl Jung,
In my
the
channel,
most
you don't need
dangerous
to
sign
pay
of a
anything.
person
It is charity.
is the complete absence
Free
of shadow
education.
awareness. When someone refuses to admit their own capacity for wrongdoing, when they see themselves as incapable of anger, cruelty, or deception, they become truly unpredictable. It's not the presence of darkness that makes someone dangerous, it's the denial of it. People who recognize their flaws are often more trustworthy because they are aware of their potential to harm and take steps to avoid it. But those who believe they have no shadow are blind to their own behavior. They justify everything, rationalize anything, and leave a wake of confusion behind them, never understanding the role they played.
Not
In Jung's
confusion.
view, this is
Danger.
not just a psychological flaw,
Very
it's a
sad.
form of
Very sad.
spiritual blindness. So next time you meet someone who insists they're always kind, always moral, always in the right, pause. Ask yourself, what are they not seeing in themselves? The answer might just protect you. If these ideas have given you something to reflect on, or challenge the way you see yourself or others, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your opinion.
You know who you are.
I make it my duty to educate girls, women, men even, how to choose a partner. It is a duty. Because if you are naive and you don't have the experience and you trust everybody, you will fall and you will harm yourself. Because people Some of them are very wicked, but the exterior is very pleasant, and this is very, very unfortunate. It happened to women or men, doesn't matter the gender. Thank you and goodbye.